All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating system called the WiseUp framework. And we're going to start with a surprisingly tough question about exactly how we're preparing our youth for an incredibly unpredictable AI-driven world. So, we need to name the ceiling we've collectively accepted here. The traditional school system is exceptionally designed for one main thing, and that's curriculum delivery and measuring academic outcomes. Now, that is necessary, sure, but as the sources make crystal clear, it's no longer sufficient. What a young person needs today goes way beyond what the school alone can provide. The standard curriculum addresses academics, absolutely, but it leaves critical, hidden needs, things like identity, mental resilience, and life direction, entirely unanswered.
To navigate all this, we're going to walk step by step through a logical blueprint of a student's developmental journey. We'll quickly cover the hidden schooling gap, grades 7 to 9, which we call the formative window, grades 10 to 12, or the activation window, the trajectory split, and finally, empowering parents at home.
Okay, starting with part 1, the hidden schooling gap.
When those hidden needs aren't met, the default school path can honestly feel like a tangled, stressful mess of anxiety, where a student is just trying to survive. But if you intentionally handle those milestones, like identity and direction, that confusing journey completely transforms into a structured, clear pathway to actual fulfillment. And to get on that street path, we really have to divide the student timeline into two distinct critical phases. First up, you've got the formative window from grades 7 to 9. Then the activation window from grades 10 to 12. Understanding the wildly different primary needs in these two windows is basically the entire secret to this framework.
So let's jump into that first phase, grades 7 to 9, the formative window.
Now consider this. It's a profound insight. These early teenage years are very often the most neglected, yet they are absolutely the most critical. What a learner develops or, fails to develop between the ages of 12 and 15 literally shapes every single future decision they will make. This is when the foundation is poured. During these years, the absolute primary need is identity and understanding their own unique learning style. Because if a kid can't answer who am I beyond just what they happen to be good at in front of their friends, their future career choices are essentially built on sand. Plus, think about it. The school system measures everyone exactly the same way. So learners who don't fit that default mold are often wrongly labeled as below average, when in reality, they just process information differently. To fix this, the framework uses targeted tools, like a purpose questionnaire, to help students actually uncover the language of their unique gifts and their cognitive strengths. And when those things align, they get a confirmed vocational compass. But it's not just about pointing them in the right direction. We also have to build a sense of resilience. And this is so vital. Resilience is a learned skill. It is not just having a positive attitude. A learner who is constantly protected from failure has absolutely zero framework to handle the real pressure of senior grades. They need to learn how to fail, recover, and keep moving long before they actually need to rely on those skills. Just look at this massive, catastrophic gap where burnout happens. Standard academic pressure absolutely skyrockets as students approach grade 12. But standard student resilience? It usually just stays flat. WiseUp's tools proactively build up that resilience capacity way before the academic pressure even spikes. Which brings us nicely to part 3, grades 10 to 12, the activation window. Now, this is where the tone totally shifts from preparation to urgent execution. Grade 10 to 12 is where the gap between the prepared and the unprepared becomes permanently visible. Why? Because the subject choices you make in grade 10 literally determine your university entry and future pathways. If a student is making those choices reactively, just based on peer pressure, they are setting themselves up for adult career dissatisfaction. They need a confirmed direction, updated specifically for the high-stakes matric context, which is exactly what WiseUp provides. Grades 11 and 12 introduce an unprecedented academic weight, just a massive volume of pressure. And here's a crucial takeaway for you. Matric is not the time to develop study skills. It's the time to execute them. This requires deep structural support, like targeted academic roadmaps and real cognitive mechanics. But holding up the grades isn't enough, right? They have to activate for the real world. Students today often hold this total fantasy view of the workforce, built pretty much entirely on internet clout. They desperately need reality-based professional readiness. WiseUp answers this by replacing that fantasy with direct conversations with industry leaders in a monthly professionals webinar.
They help students master their personal narrative and even connect them to an elite network of achievers, offering priority status within corporate networks before they even graduate. How cool is that?
All right, moving on to part 4, the trajectory split. The stakes here are incredibly high. The default path often leaves students making reactive academic choices, leading directly to pressure-induced burnout and graduating with that fantasy view of the workforce. The alternative, the WiseUp pathway, results in a confirmed 3-year plan, proactive stress management, and graduating with a reality-based professional network. It is a complete and total trajectory split.
And finally, part 5, empowering parents at home. Now, parents naturally have anxiety about their child's financial security. That is perfectly normal. But when parents aren't included in this direction-finding process, their well-intentioned advice can accidentally become the loudest voice polling against a student's actual purpose, which just creates massive confusion at home.
So the key to truly effective support is mastering the exact same language and framework the teens are learning. When parents engage with this structured framework, like utilizing the parent workshops in Module 8, they replace their own financial anxiety with aligned support. They literally transform from unintentional obstacles into their child's most powerful allies.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember this. Your child's trajectory does not have to be an accident. Surviving and actually thriving in an unpredictable, AI-driven world requires a deliberate plan that honors their unique design. So the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves isn't just how hard our students can work, but rather, are we pointing them in a direction where their unique potential can actually take flight?
This explainer forms part of the WiseUp collection. For more information, please WhatsApp on 071-957-5853 or visit www.wiseupkeytoyou.com.